I just wanted coffee, not spiritual enlightenment. Not to be reborn through moonlight vibrations, just coffee. It started like any other broke Tuesday. I walked into a small, sleek cafe I'd never noticed before. No signage. Just a glowing Wi-Fi symbol on the door and a chalkboard that said, "Free Wi-Fi." Free soul cleansing. That should have been my first red flag. Inside, everything smelled like lavender and wet clay. The barista was wearing a beige robe and a necklace made of polished teeth. Real or fake, I didn't ask. I was just desperate for caffeine and signal. "First time?" she asked, handing me a cup labeled Moonmilk. I nodded and asked for the Wi-Fi password. She smiled and whispered, "It's let go and descend 23, all caps." Seemed like overkill, but whatever. I sat down, opened my laptop, and connected. Instant signal, fastest internet I've had in years. Uploads were flying, my inbox synced like a racehorse, and my TikTok loaded instantly. No spinning wheel. It felt illegal. 10 minutes in, a bell rang. Everyone stood up, I didn't. That was a mistake. They all turned in unison and stared at me. A guy in a white tunic said, "You haven't offered your digital sins to the orb." I thought he was joking, he wasn't. A glowing orb was placed on the center table. They all gathered around and started chanting things like, "I renounce 3 a.m. scrolling. I reject thirst traps and sponsored laxative teas. I let go of doom scrolling Elon." Then they all pressed their phones to the orb. I didn't know what to do. A woman handed me a feather and said, "Cleanse your cookies." I panicked and cleared my browser history. Apparently that counted. The leader, Supreme Admin Sylvia, declared me digitally pure and offered me a rank. Wi-Fi Acolyte Tier 1. I was too afraid to say no. Later that day I found myself sitting in a salt circle, live streaming a chant to 78,000 viewers on TikTok Live. My phone was floating slightly above my hand. No one explained how. I think I reached enlightenment level 2 when I deleted my Uber Eats app. Things escalated quickly. I was given a new robe. Beige, of course. I was told I now shared soul bandwidth with a woman named Celestia, who once dated a guy who almost worked at Google. Every time I asked for coffee, they handed me more Moonmilk. It tasted like oat milk and existential dread. At one point, I caught myself saying namaste to a toaster. By day 3, I had a job title, Vibe Security Specialist. I was in charge of ensuring that no one harshened anyone's vibe. Once I had to escort a guy out for saying crypto. I hadn't seen daylight in 36 hours. But the Wi-Fi still perfect. Things finally broke when my mom FaceTimed me. She said, "You look glowy. And what's with the robe?" I told her I was exploring my digital self. She replied, "You joined a cult, didn't you?" I paused, looked around. Everyone was slow-motion dancing to a flute remix of the iPhone alarm. The orb was pulsing again. A guy was whispering to a potted plant labeled Steve Jobs Jr. I sighed and said, "Yeah, but the internet's really good." I eventually escaped by pretending to be a modem. They believed me. I just stood in the corner, made beep sounds, and blinked a lot. They thought I was channeling pure bandwidth and left me alone long enough for me to sneak out the back. Now I just hang out at Starbucks like a normal person. The Wi-Fi sucks, but at least no one's chanting at me to delete Instagram. Most days except one time. Someone asked me if I'd been orb-touched. I didn't answer, but I still have the robe. Just in case the Wi-Fi goes out,